everybody. Thank you, professors, for that kind introduction. And thank you, Professor Misra, for being here today. My name is Naraya, and I'll admit yes. And yeah, without further ado, could you please tell us about a little bit about your family and your background to start with?
That purpose. Where did you come from and what is your background? Name is good enough, but it's not good enough, son. And I have put my phone on airport, the airbag board. Request you to say. You-
So I'm from Goa, and I live in Pune. Um, I have finished my 11th and 12th in a boarding school.
Indoor.
No, this was in Kodaikanal.
Okay.
It's not a native school.
Oh.
And around, yeah, the
Business good enough. But what? Science or humanities?
mix. So I had bio, I had sociology, psychology, ecos. And so I have lived my whole life in Gujarat, so South Gujarat. I did my schooling there as well in a
Lot of it in Kutch.
no, South Gujarat is near Surat.
Near Surat.
Yes. So I did my schooling and everything there. I took science in 11th and 12th, so PCM.
Should. Yeah.
Right. Yes. So could you start with your family background, about yourself?
Okay. So, my father was in the education field also. He was in the army for a brief period, a short service commission, but always in the education field. He was in the services selection board and then principal of a school after school. And in fact, I went to those schools where he was principal, which is the toughest thing. Your father is the principal, you can't be naughty. but then you have to follow the rules and then so on and so forth. So that is my background. He was an educationist. I am an educationist. One of my sons is now a professor of marketing in Boston. So 3 generations of educationists are there. My mother was from a village basically, but she was very interested in Hindi literature, sahitya jisko bolte hain. So we learned a lot from her in that sense. And I had 2 sisters, both I'm the youngest. One is settled in England, and her husband was also a professor. And the younger sisters, the middle sisters, husband was in the Navy. So that's my family background. And my wife runs an NGO, which is dedicated to teaching of poor kids. So in the schools that she is taking part is if the family income is more than 35,000, it used to be 10, then we give 15 or 25, and then you cannot get admission in the school. And the people come with approaches and all that. I'm for admission because it's become one of the top 5 schools in Gurgaon. So they try to fake their income. But then you see the kids coming with Nike shoes and this, a little this. So they have their way of finding out. So we are all the family are quite a bit of education.
Speaking in your your school life, could you paint a picture of what that was? Like, did you enjoy school? Were you always interested in learning? And
Yes, and of course, I enjoyed the school, but encouraged by my father and the family that I was not play a bopper. I used to play sports and take part in other activities also in the school. And that actually helps you to build your personality. We were talking a little bit about quota. If you go to quota, your personality is gone. You may get into IIT, but you come out with no sports, no nothing like that.
Professor, who or what inspired you to join academia, like as a career?
Okay, so I have to give a little background. First, I went to the States. I did my BTech in IIT Kanpur. Then I went to the States and did my master's at Tufts University, one of the leading universities in the Boston area. And then I started working in a research environment. I'm in polymer expert polymer scientist. So then I realized that to do a finer job in a research, you need a PhD. And the second thing is that I was a little bit enamored by at least 2, 3 professors at IIT Kanpur. And you can't get a faculty job unless you have a PhD. So that inspired me to do PhD. And then I joined the corporate world again. I used to work for Monsanto. But always in the back of my mind is I would go back to India and maybe teach at an IIT. So that with a couple of mentors that I had from IIT Kanpur, I was in touch with them and they sort of inspired me to take up a teaching job. So I returned to India and after about 8.5, 9 years in the States and got into teaching. I taught in IIT Delhi for 23 years, going from assistant professor to dean level and then director at IIT Bombay.
On that note, going a little further, before you started your career, you studied in IIT Kanpur.
Yes.
What was it? What was IIT like at that time, Professor?
So I did IIT Kanpur when no batch had graduated, which was like, in a way, like for you're the first year, I was the fourth batch. So one didn't know whether it was what would happen when you graduate. So a little bit of uncertainty. But IIT Kanpur had the collaboration with the leading US universities, and I was told that their curriculum and their this thing would be very good. And it was very good, and that attracted leading Indian PhDs from abroad to come and teach at IIT Kanpur, and some of them inspired me. If you may have heard the name of C.N.R. Rao, who got a Bharat Ratna, one of the few scientists to get a Bharat Ratna, he was my chemistry 101 teacher in the first year. I had people like that, of that caliber, so that also inspired me to be a teacher. So it was very good. The curriculum was very solid, no nonsense. That's what I learned, that in an education system, there should be no nonsense. Ethics has to be given the highest value. Only then an institution can survive and go forward. IIT Kanpur was an example. And that's why they used to get 50 students. Top 50. Top 50. And some odd. Harvard Seed will probably come later. Yeah.
Like the what would you say? Like we've heard that IIT, it's tough to get in, and at that time was the admission process similar as it is today?
So admission process so similar. The preparation process was different. I remember on the day, the next day is the exam, and I'm from Lucknow. So we went for, some of us for the chart thing, and where a good chart was available, and came back. घर में डांट भी पड़ी कि कल exam है. I said अभी क्या था? Last minute I can't do anything. Either I know it or I don't know it. And we got through. We was all of us. So that was a intrinsic way of getting into IT that should have been maintained instead of these coaching classes which have come up.
Like, yeah, the supplement. Two things. How long did you prep? How long did you prep for JEE and that type? And since it is talk about hostel life, class profile, gender ideals. Stuff.
Good. So, no very specific preparation, just continued whatever I did for the 12th board examination, more of the same. For maths, somebody used to come over and help me, some MSc student, not any hotshot guy from the neighborhood. But when you reach IIT, so in your class in 12th, you were like number 1 or 2 or something like that. When you reach IIT, you suddenly realize that you are just a number there, one of the few, because they've all come who were top in their classes. So that is one good realization, that one got early in life, that you are not the don that you think you are, because everybody else is awesome. The hostel life was very good, because it continues. That part of the thing still continues, that you learn from each other in the hostel as much as you learn in the classroom from the teacher. So because you have peers who are very bright, so discussions is that take place as to how things would go. takes in much more now with the startup culture. But that interaction in IIT campus, I'm sure you experienced that. That sort of remains the same, which is a very good thing on the IITs.
How many boys, how many girls in the class? And then,
I had 0 girls. In the top, I was the 4th batch, 0 girls. 5th batch, 0 girls. 6th batch, the deputy director's daughter joined 1 girl. And then there were 2, 3 and all that business. Very, very few. But that didn't bother us too much. But you get focused with your studies.
So now coming into your career, you went from student to professor and then director at these IITs. Could you describe the journey of this, the path?
Yeah. So, like I said, I work with an organization in the research of a leading chemical company in the States. It's all decimated. That's a different matter. But that time, it was like a DuPont, Monsanto. They were the leading chemical companies. So, very high-powered research scientists were there. So good interactions. But then going to teaching was a good transition because I wanted to go into teaching, sort of inspired by some of my professors. So that was one transition. And then I began to enjoy teaching because, when you teach, especially in the IIT system, I'm just saying that I'm sure this is true somewhat here. When you go to the class, the students are so bright that you can't go unprepared for any lecture. You go unprepared for one lecture, they will decimate you. So you have to be, so that's a very good learning. So you have to be, and those who would come for PhD would be dedicated and to be I could be teaching probably in the States also, but to be teaching in your country with your own Indian students and doing research with them was a very good experience. I would never trade it for anything. Although Monsanto, they used to call me back for every summer. I used to go work, solve some of their unsolved problems and I can give some examples later if you want. But and do that. And every year they would offer me to come back and say, no, I'm in India. But I left the States. As luck would have it, after I had given my resignation letter, my increment came. The increment was more than the salary I would get at IIT. And so boss tried to tell me why. I don't understand. I said, you won't understand because it's a different culture.
Thank you for that answer. You had a leadership position as director at IIT Bombay. What was the journey of being a leader there?
Yeah. Okay. So let me give you a little background. So in the IIT Delhi system, there are some people who are just professors doing research and teaching. But I was taking part in student activities. I was president of, film series, club, tennis, borscht, all the kind of things. Then became the head of what in some IITs is called the Gymkhana, but the recreation and creative activities group. So that interaction was there. And then because of that, I held several positions, including head of the department and dean of alumni and international relations. So that journey starts sometime back. And then you are ready for the interviews to answer the questions. And that's how one gets selected. So I got selected. So that journey was very good. And one of the things I used to note in IIT Delhi as to what needs to be done. Okay. And so when I reached IIT Bombay, now I was in a position where if I don't do what needs to be done, then I'm a bad director, right? So I did the things which needed to be done. Some of which Ranjan and Partha said that giving stress on research. See, many times people say IITs are the MITs of India. When I looked at the MIT, what they are doing and what we are doing, the students may be equally good in terms of brain power and all that, undergraduate. But when you look at their research output, what they produce, what technologies have come out, IITs were like nowhere. And it can't happen unless you have good research. So I had to resist the government, in fact, fight with them to some extent. And they would say, increase BTech seats, and the word would go gaga on it, we should increase. I said, no, I want to increase PhD and masters. Because that's what, see, if I don't have PhD students in IIT Bombay, the faculty doesn't have, PhD students to work with. So when I joined, many faculty members, Partha would have 1 or 2 PhD students. By the time I left, they had 4, 5 students each. And even if 2 are, not everybody has to be grade with it. Even if 50% of them are grade, you have a large number. Okay? And then once that reached, then I was ready to increase the undergraduate numbers. And Goa we interacted with. Manohar Parrikar was the chief minister. And so we took a Goa Engineering College in our wing and raised their level to the extent possible.
Nitya, before you start, sorry, a little question.
Yeah.
Talk a bit about culture change at IIT Bombay and what you...
Yeah, and I thought they might ask a question, or should I mention?
Is that your next question or are you moving? Yeah.
Okay, so because of this, most people were very enamored by that. I would get more research money and all that. And see, every year, that's an example, they would tar the roads. I said, look, you don't have to redo the roads every year, can do it every third year. Save that money and buy equipment. Because if you don't have good equipment, research students will always not do it. And fast forward several years later, one of our alumnus, whom you may know, Thakur, at Johns Hopkins, he got a research thesis from IIT Bombay to examine. And he said, his remark was that IIT Bombay now has equal or better equipment than we have. So unless you provide the tools for research, then having this research is not good enough. So changing that culture, one. Second, all the departments used to look run down. And unfortunately, Mr. Rahul Bajaj from Bajaj Auto was our chairman. And he said, Ashok, dekha ho to ganda sa lag raha department. He said, but the PhDs, students and faculty is very good. He said, wo to the same other. So it is important to be good, but also look good. So you would be, if you dress up loudly and go for an interview, what will happen? That sort of a thing. So you have to be good and look good also. So that changed the culture. I'll just give an anecdote. The accounts department, I'm from UP, so the accounts department used to look like a UP government office with files and all that. I said, tum log apna, you just change it. You go and look and see how L&T office is. Literally, this was the thing. They went to see the L&T office and they decided themselves, we should have it like this. Improve this. So we improved with cabins and this and that. All that culture of files on top and looking lousy went away. So my wife went one day to visit them. I said, tum dekh ke aao to kya kar rahe ho? So she went and she said, what do you think? This is improvement to bahut acha ho gaya hai, but now I have to come dressed better because my office is better. So that's a kind of cultural difference, and then their output also increases, once you have that better environment. So that is the other kind. The other thing was, see, I just give an anecdote and Partha started with that. One very well-known, very good professor of electrical engineering. So he came to me and something update, and he said, is it allowed? Okay, for some not very important thing where money would be involved. I said, are you embezzling money? No. Are you doing the wrong thing? I said, no. I said, then why is it not allowed? Nobody has ever been done before. So that thing in culture was very important, that people would say, okay, this is the right thing to do for improvement of electrical engineering or chemistry department. I know that the director will improve it. So that cultural difference is very, very important. And then, in addition to that, is you mentioned, we are the first ones to introduce. We had a group called the FAN, Faculty Academic Network. So academics of IIT would interact with academic alumni. We are the only IIT which had them. So we were talking about time in America. This is, what takes you to attract a new faculty, and what do you guys do? He said we give them a startup grant. Now you mentioned that R&D is the most efficiently run, and my R&D team was there. I said, "Tumhare paas kitna paisa hai?" So he told me, he whispered me. So I said, I don't have to ask you what to do. I said, from now on, every new hiree will give, I forget, it was 5 or 10, now it has become 20.
8 lakhs.
8 lakhs initially, something like that. We'll give startup grant, okay, to start their research. So what the startup grant does is that it immediately, a person can start doing their research. And some of the people within 2 years got a research grant of, let's say, 50 lakhs or 80 lakhs. And we would take the 20% IIT contribution. So whatever we gave them, we returned. We earned. So it became like a business model without realizing it. But what it did was that the youngsters could get going faster and better. So one of the persons who had been there in IIT, I'm just giving you on the lighter side, he said, "Sir, humko bhi milega." I said, "Yeah, but you have to resign or reapply. You may not get selected, that I can't guarantee you. Because you'll get selected again. But if you get selected, I'll give you 20 lakhs. Being, I can't take the risk." I said, "Okay then." I'm just saying. That's a major cultural difference that people, my dean of academics used to come to me about this. So slowly after, once the culture changed, so I met him on the corridor, Professor Sarda, if you know him, from computer science. I said, I have not seen you for a long time. Sir, अब मैं अपने level पे researcher ले लेता हूँ, आपको क्यों bother कर? So that's a kind of thing. So it's not like I made any differences, but if you empower the people to do the right thing, then the director can sit quietly and then things will go on. So that's the kind of thing. And then, of course, the startup. So we started this society for innovation and entrepreneurship, really encouraging innovation and startup culture, which is, still is one of the best startups, the best incubation set up in any IIT. I'm very proud of that.
And Ola and some others, right?
They came out of the areas.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add that.
Ola, recently, I forget the name. It's a drone company which has now become what they call unicorn.
Idea Force, Ola.
Idea Forge, yeah.
Idea Force. I also in got power.
Yes.
But I got very long out at of.
Okay. So many.
So, and this, although that changing the work environment, this is something I'm sure students will appreciate. So, this attempt to provide a better work environment for everybody did not start with faculty. First thing he did was with the administration and the not teaching, and then he came.
Yeah, that's like the example of the accounts. Because otherwise you went to accounts, you didn't know where to look for your paper. Now you could do everything very quickly because they were also happier. No?
The road is also very good. Again.
Huh?
Road is also very good. Road with money out of. It's like yeah.
And you don't have to do it. Yeah. Only because roads were done, sir, har saal hum karte. But I said, is it bad that this year? He said, no, it's not bad. Then why are you wasting money on it? Just buy some equipment. Because budgets are limited, there's restrictions on the money.
Yeah, Ditya over to you.
That was very insightful. So, as you were the director for many years, and like you said, you had your own vision as when you became the director, and as Patha sir said that you liked taking people's suggestions. So, how did you incorporate those suggestions by keeping your vision going?
Yeah, so if you listen to one of the reputations I had, which I don't know if you will agree with that. I was told by some of my own good colleagues who who would be open enough to tell me कि you know आपका reputation कैसे what is it कि वो सुनता सबकी करता आपकी. So you have to do the right thing, but you have to listen to people, you know, because you never know who is giving you a good suggestion. You never know that. It could be coming from a peon also sometimes. You never know, but you have to listen to good suggestions for the betterment of the overall society. Students may have a good suggestion, and so on. So this is the kind of culture when you do, then things will improve. The question was saying that 50 top 50 students were routinely going to IIT Kanpur of the top 100. Then it changed to 25 to IIT Bombay 50. Suddenly one year it was 67, 80, you know. So Kanpur, I went to Kanpur when I visited Kanpur. I said, "Aapne se kaise kiya?" I didn't know anything. See, these things happen automatically, you know, by other things that you have done. So like he said, Fatak, Professor Fatak, he attracted some very good faculty in computer science. And slowly, computer science department, which used to be the Kanpur used to be best known for computer science, that ballot shifted to IIT Bombay. Electrical engineering, again, we hired some very good people. So electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, they got to be known as good departments. And chemical engineering, so on. So chemical, I mean, these 4-5 departments that I'm naming are now amongst the top departments in all of the IITs. Okay. And once you start that ball rolling, you can't stop it. It just happens on its own by hiring good people and having a system where transparency is there, but yet competency or excellence is never compromised. Look.
So, as a leader, what values did you think were essential that any leader should have or should implement?
So, well, quest for excellence. If that quest for excellence you can pass on to your colleagues, that look, we will do the best we can do and will not tolerate nonsense. Okay. Also, it means good things will be encouraged. Then people all start, you know, when you, the deans and the heads of departments, they will say, instill that you, if they start to feel that way, then it gets passed on to the other colleagues and other students and so on. So for example, students, we're talking about colleagues so much. The students, we started giving them a grant to go to at least one international conference abroad. Okay, very simple. थोड़ा पैसे ही तो लगेगा. But what he did is the following that you all will appreciate. What it did was that because they are going to present a paper in France or Germany or in America, they had to prepare, and they would prepare a PPT presentation, which would be fantastic. Not just the old ki मैं तो ऐसे ही कुछ भी लगा दो. Because now they had to present it in front of professors who were from all over the world. That's one good thing that happened. So quality of presentations all became better. Then the other good thing, which is very subtle, that happened, they would come back and tell me, कि sir, वहाँ पे मिले, I met so and so professor. But वो तो, you know, you read about this, you feel वो तो great professor. Then you say वो तो ठीक है, ordinary आदमी तो करते हुए सब. So their respect for what we know, we also came back from abroad, went up. Okay, so they say I can do the same thing in India with Professor Misra, Professor Gupta, and so on and so forth, and you don't have to go there. Many of them did not go for even postdocs. You know, हो गया जाके present कर दिया paper. There's enough in India. So these are two. The one is a very tangible one, because there's a very subtle one. So only because we encourage them to go to international conferences. The other thing that happened is because you send them from one, there are other ways to raise money from CSIR, this, there. Now, up to Chaska lag gaya, so now they will try to go to the second conference, you know, and like that. So, every time I go to a foreign conference, they learn something and come back, and it's good for the institute, no?
Going back to
Yes, we agree with all that.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, I must also tell you one thing before you go. Partha will, I don't know whether you'll agree or not. When I joined, you looked at humanities department as a service department. कि humanity का कोई भी पढ़ाना है. I said, no, you are a department equal to any other department. So you are doing, where is your PhD students? Where is your this thing? And that also increased. All the science departments, physics, chemistry, maths, chemistry and maths especially became the best in the IIT system. Better than Kanpur. Maths became better than IIC and all that. Because science is the mother of technology. No science, no technology. Correct? If you don't have good science, good inventions and all that, technology doesn't come. You might just start
There's a course which explains the difference between technology and science. So
Hurry.
they have done a course which explains,
Oh, okay, good. I hope you agree with that. Okay.
and it's taught by an IIT Bombay alum.
Oh,
In fact, when I was doing masters and PhD, IIT Kanpur had the best humanities department. PhDs from IIT Kanpur humanities used to teach all over in some of the best universities in India. Now it's IIT Bombay and Delhi. These are the best.
see. And then we started Sanskrit, which, government gives you, sometimes the government gives you a opening. Ki Sanskrit. There's BJP government, everybody says Sanskrit. I saw that opportunity of this. We hired two people who had background in science. One is maths, one in physics, and Sanskrit. So science and Sanskrit became the
Became about Indian knowledge, India's science rather than Sanskrit.
right. Correct. So we took advantage of that. And the Sanskrit course, which Ram Subramaniam teaches, has 100 plus students. It's an elective. So they could take, computer science courses, but Sanskrit is one of the popular electives. Would you like to take a break and let somebody else ask a question? Then you could come back to it. Because otherwise, is that okay? Don't, I answered all your questions, don't worry.
It was in the plan, so where?
They were supposed to read it that way.
No, I know, but let it be in between.
No, I say it was supposed to be in between questions. Okay. Yeah.
Because somebody will say, "Yeah, आप क्या बर्बाद कर रहे हो?" Question me in challenge. Yeah. All right, they have to think. Please go ahead. Just
You just need to hold for software. The questions will come.
yeah. So just be ready with your question, but in the time in real life. But you can.
I just had one question, Professor. In your experience as director at IIT Bombay, how did you deal with unexpected changes or sudden shifts in demands from like either students or your colleagues? And how do you, when it was difficult, what you would expect?
Yeah. Good. Very good question. See, you have to, whatever situation comes, you have to deal with it. Okay. And I'll give you one or two anecdotes. And you have to find a good solution for it, which is a joint solution for the betterment of the institute. Okay. So, unfortunately, there was one suicide. Okay. And when we found out why the suicide was, it turned out that this particular student boy, as it turns out, was so much into computers and all that, and he would just sit at home, not attend classes and things like that. And he got depressed and suicide. Okay. Not interacting enough with others. Then we made a fatwa rule that, and I gave the choice to the students because we interacted with them, that 6 hours there will be no internet in your rooms. They'll be in the common area only. Okay. So I said, you choose whether it is 10 to 6 or 11 to 5. And they chose sometime. And then they said, keep it, I can get a dongle. I said, if you get a dongle and do all that, then it's your parents who are doing it. At least I am not doing it. Okay. So they understood that. A lot of protests, kya aap soch rahe ho? So tumne karna hai to go in your department and do it in a public place, but not in your room. 6 months later, I met the students. They said, sir, that is the best thing you did because now we talk to each other. Very simple, right?
You're giving us some ideas, sir.
Yeah. So how we talk to each other. So there's just one example. There are several others. Another example. is the government changed the ruling, and you have chowkidars and all that, right? So there is a class D, class 4 employees, we call them, and they were classified as skilled or unskilled labor. Okay? Unskilled would be if you're not 10th pass, skilled would be if you're 10th pass. So they all started together, but the 10th pass walas got the next level, and these guys got left behind. Sir, ab to itne saal se kaam kar rahi hu. So then we arranged the system through Vidya, actually, as it turns out, that you finish National Open School, but not in your working time. It has to be after your working time. So the vardi pehen ke aate the. They, except for one, I think he was only 5th pass, unfortunately, so he couldn't pull it. But they all passed, and they all became skilled labor now. Some of them passed the next level of faith and left this chowkidari and went into lab and became lab assistants.
Or even accounts.
Or even accounts, and then stuff like that. So this is the problem. If you, and I could have really said, "ठीक है, तुम अनपढ़ हो, अब क्या कर सकते?" One. But what is in the betterment of the institute if they become a little literate? The drivers used to, gossip and all that. And the departments used to have extra computers because you get a new one order. उनको 2 computer वहाँ लगा दिया. So now they were computer literate and they learned a lot. And now their duties could be sent by email to them in the rooms. So instead of, so they were all getting agitated. Is it you फालतू बैठे रहते हैं इसलिए की agitation हो रही है mind में, इनको busy रखो. So they became computers, they were playing games, this, that, or not. I don't care what they do. Something they are doing, they're busy, happy. So happy people will make progress, unhappy people will make obstacle. Faculty, chowkidar, MVP, administration, anywhere. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah? I think I answered your question in that.
Yes.
Yeah. There were more questions, right? Yeah.
There's a student component to that. So students under the NSS scheme also participated in giving tuitions to all those staff to help them pass by.
Yes. I forgot to mention that. I mean, the process I didn't mention, yes. So the students also, they also felt good.
They were teaching.
Yeah. So they contributed to the growth, yes.
I had a question regarding what you just said about how unhappy people create obstacles and happy people will help the everything like progress. How do you carry people as a leader? Like, what is your role?
So basically, you have to carry the people with you. So you have to listen to their happiness as well as their grievances. Okay? And if you can solve the grievances and take this forward, then you make them slightly happier. And again, Amirat, so if you give a grievance, if I immediately solve the problem, it will not be that beneficial. If I find out what's the reason for your grievance, and then address that, then you will be a happier person in the end. So, at Parthawood Bhiram, in my office as the director, almost anybody could walk in, although there is a firewall of the personal secretary and this and that. So one time a professor said, I've been trying to contact. He sent me an email. He told, "Aapko to Gustain is there home office with." Very next day I called him at 5 o'clock. I said, "I'm free at 5. Can you come at 5? So you have to listen to people. And every chowkidar, every this thing, it didn't matter what section of IIT they were, whether it was faculty. So like for example, some faculty didn't make it from assistant professor to associate professor. हम तो इतना कर रहे हैं, you know, say every professor thinks they're the cat's whiskers, right? And they should. But they should also understand what is their deficiency. So some person had like 5 PhDs but 5 papers. It can't happen. If you have a good PhD in science and technology, you should have at least 3-4 papers. Oh no, I don't believe in publishing. You may not believe in publishing. We believe. IIT Bombay believes in publishing because our numbers are, because only then we will be known that you are a good professor here. How will you transmit your work to the outside world? It's only through papers, no? So then one time I remember when I said, you didn't apply this year? Well, I was friendly with a friend. No, I understood what you said last time. I'm not going to apply this round. I'll apply the round which you will not be able to reject me. This is not a rejection. It's not that you didn't get selected. That's what you have to explain them. That if you don't make it the next grade, it's not like you are rejected. But there's some deficiency, you have to solve it. And if you explain it properly, then it's done. So we used to have this teacher evaluation forms. So we collected them. And then those who were getting less than, I think 60% or something, high rating, I called them as one by one. I said, look, what can we do to improve your teaching? No, I've been teaching so well. Everybody thinks he's the best teacher in the whole world, right? But if they get a good feedback, then he or she can improve, no? So he gave that feedback. I said, this is what the students are saying. What is that we can do to improve you? Because I want you to be the best teacher. And then slowly, all those ratings were all very nice. Not artificially, but really. So just giving some example. Partha is correct. You saw it happen. Yeah.
Do any
You
other questions? I in the introduction, Dr. Pointer was talking about like how you took criticisms. Like I personally I work hard and everybody is quirky, and then like overnight I work on an assignment, okay, and then you're talking to your peers or talking to your professors, and then they criticize over like how much ever like you go with open mind, but still back of your heart and then mind is still that like, oh, I work so hard, and that little it demotivates me and Matthew or someone. So how do you how would you guide us to deal with criticisms in good way that it does not backfire us, but it really motivates us to work for
Yeah. So, criticism of your work should be a constructive criticism. If you have written a paper, you have put in the time, okay? As teachers, we can tell that ये तुमने chat GPT वाला paper दिया है आज की date में, यह सही दिया. That you can tell. But if we find that you have not put in the proper time, then it's more irritating. If we know that you put the proper time, but your concept may be wrong or this and that, then it's my job to guide you. That's all. So it should be always from a teacher's side, it should be a constructive criticism rather than a criticism which will hurt you.
So, flip side, I think the question is also, as a student, how can I get better at
And better at?
taking tough feedback? I put something, I got a whole bunch of things lost.
We have to teach the teachers first, no? And for they teach you. So they should give you a feedback which will help you to improve. And once you understand, see, every teacher will have their own way. So same paper may be highly appreciated by some and criticized by the other. So that also there is a personal diet to that. But overall, good stuff is always recognized. Okay. So then you can go and especially ask before you do the next paper, then you can take some hints before you do the next paper. So that look and get some feedback from the internet or wherever in your area, and then say and write a better paper. But that's the easy part. Yeah. And of course, interacting with your peers, don't be ever shy of interacting with your peers. I'm not saying you get cog assignments from each other, no. But if you do, see, I used to give open book exams and take home exams. I said, आप बात करो, हमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है? As long as you come back with a solution. That also helps interactions. Yeah.
We will come back to the audience at the end now. So going back to the values, like one of the values that was quest for excellence, what values do you think we should implement here as with this subject?
So, okay. So, true. Excellence is one thing. Second is there is no substitute or hard work. Okay? So you may be intelligent, you may be this, but if you're intelligent but hard work, your work will be even better, So there's no substitute for hard work, no sloughing off. That's it. And the third and most important thing is ethics. That at the end of the day, when you see all the things that are going around the world with the politicians and all that, who do you not respect is the one you think is unethical, right? So if you want to be respected by your peers, if you want to be respected by your teachers, if you want to be respected by your parents, your younger brothers, sisters, or elder ones, you have to present that, look, I am keen. Ethics, ethics and moral character has to be of the highest level. My father used to tell me, if you have lost your money, you have lost something. If you lost your health, you have actually lost something more. But if you have lost your character, you have lost everything. Okay? So Mr. Malia is sitting in England. When he comes back, would you like to go and see him and shake his hand? Finished. I rest my case. Correct?
So, moving on, aside from leadership and academics, what are your other passions?
So it has gone up and down. At one time in life, I was very much of a photographer. I used to like photography. I still like photography, but now photography lost its charm because everybody is a photographer, right? With the cell phones. But still, I like to do some photography. And at one time, I was very much into stamp collection and so on. And the sports I used to play now with my age and these and all that, a little less, but I still play some squash. But I used to play a lot of tennis, and that used to be my passion. And reading a little bit and traveling, all those things.
Earlier in the interview, you mentioned Vidya Institutes.
Yeah.
What was the contribution?
So Vidya is an organization. It's an acronym VIDYA, Vidya Education Development for Youth and Adults. And you can Google it if you want to see. This is an NGO started by my wife. Okay, for educating the poor and helping the poor women from the lower section of so-called what we don't want to call it, but in you underserved society or less privileged society. And it's done very good work. There is a one school K to 12 which is running in Gurgaon, and the students from there have gone to NITs, LSR, if you've heard of those names, Ashoka, Plaksha, and so on. So their experiment very clearly proved that there is no correlation between a less privileged poverty, relative poverty, and brain power. Given the opportunity, anybody can be. You never know where the gem is, Some privileged kids may not be so smart, but they go to the best colleges and all that. So why not provide that opportunity? So there are several NGOs which provide a very large number of कि हमने उनको literate बना दिया. वो ठीक है, पर have we given them the opportunity to go to the next level? That is the challenge.
So, in your experience then now as a professor, lead and director, what do you think makes an institutional education institute great?
What does the education institution?
What makes a great institution?
Oh, what makes it? Okay, so there are several things. For a great institution, it should have very good teaching for sure. Okay, because that is the teaching learning process, knowledge transmitted from your seniors, which are the teachers, to you. If that is not happening well, it's not a good institution. Okay, and ethical teaching, that means not like some of the universities like classes don't help and so on and so forth. So it should be proper teaching. In research, where you are actually creating your knowledge, either through inventions, innovations, and innovations can be not necessarily that I have a better car or better engine or better chip, but the systems that you have for governance, even that is improved. So innovation can be in all fields. Okay. In Vidya, for instance, you talked of Vidya. One of the girls there, her father is a Zomato driver, and he never wore his helmet. Now the girl is worried कि अगर इसको accident हो गया तो मेरा क्या होगा? You know, because if he gets hurt and all that. So she, with the help of her teachers in the class, she prepared a chip which she put in the helmet. That unless he puts the helmet, the scooter won't start. Okay. So this is innovation, no? So that sort of thing will take it forward. So innovation is very important. So so transmission of knowledge, generation of knowledge, and then taking it to the next level of innovation. Entrepreneurship, no, all that has come up. So that's all part of it. Entrepreneurship will lead to startups will lead to, of course, revenue generation, but also employment. So whichever institutes provide it'll provide only the two main things, research and this thing. The rest is actually they're providing an ambience where all these things will flourish. So that's a good institution. And then having said that, governance and all has to be also very good. Otherwise it doesn't work. Leadership and governance, very important.
As one of the founders of Nayanta, what are your aspirations at this university?
So I like to see in Nayanta, it'll take time because when you start a startup or a company, it can take off in 4 years, 5 years. It could also fall down in 4 years, 5 years. One thing, you don't want the institution to fall down. So you have to go slowly and carefully and breathe it forward. So I like to see it as one of the leading institutions, first in India, right now in Maharashtra, then India, and then and compete with the peers so that it becomes like IIT Bombay gave a journey for high-ranked IITs. Every branch there now closes before every other IIT. Okay, so whether it is civil or mechanical or something doesn't matter. So then this should be the choice over, and I won't name the other university, you know, the peer universities which are competing with you. So this should become the top choice of that university for joining the university. So, and then hopefully with research and this and that to grow up. I'll give it an example. My son, who was into marketing and all, so he had a sabbatical at Harvard. He doesn't want to join Harvard because I want to do research. Harvard Business Review and all that is coming, but research is not going on to the extent he likes it. So these are, you may agree or disagree, but that's how it is.
But if you're talking about the world of business, right?
Yeah,
business.
I'm not talking about the world of business.
Yes, the business school is not a research school.
It's not a research school.
It's not a.
But it's very well known because of other things. So, but you have to have other things. So that perception goes through that this is not a research school. But that's, so it should be all these more. And of course, having said all that, you have to have great teachers and great students. Great teachers and lousy students will not work. Lousy teachers with great students will not be. And that reputation, when it builds the reputation, all these both things will go up and up. People will join because they say, I want to change my job or I want to join, and true. And same thing with the students, right?
So adding on to that, what advice would you give us students as member of the founding batch?
So and you have a lot on your plate. You are the torchbearers, okay? Your success will determine the success of the next 2-3 batches. Like I said, I was the 4th batch, and I learned a lot from the first 3 batches when I joined, and I saw what they were doing and they guided me and so on and so forth. So also remember, at the end of the day, institution, teachers will come and go, but alumni, you will always remain as alumni of Nayanta. Okay? So you want to make sure that Nayanta name does not go down as alumni you was. Do well and make sure that you can contribute back as you go forward. So to the second batch, third batch, so on and so forth, and in the future. Because you are alumnus for life. You know, when you go out, you meet somebody, I'm an engineer. And I'm telling you my experience. So he's from IIT or she is from IIT. Within 2-3 minutes, I am IIT Bombay, ye wo fla. But if they are from a Joshmo college, you have to actually probe to find out which college you went to. Right? So you don't want that to happen. You want the answer to say, I am from where? Yeah. That's it. Got it?
Lastly, if you were taking this interview, is there a question you would ask that we did not?
To you. To yourself. Or to myself. No, for that, let them ask, yeah. The only question which is sometimes is that would I do anything differently in my life? That is one question. Sometimes I wonder if I had gone into the corporate world, I may become general manager, MD, and so on and so forth. But then I think about it and I said, look, was I unhappy? No. Would I do anything wrong, unethical, evil? Answer is no. You know, I'm satisfied. So that's the only question sometimes I ask myself. Would I have done something different? Yes, I could have. Would I have been a different path? I would be sitting here with Person Ranjan and Person Parth talking with you if I was in the corporate world.
You've heard of imposter syndrome, right?
Sorry?
Imposter syndrome. That you go into an environment or you go into an assignment and you're like, am I really good enough for this? So am I like, I go in as IIT Bombay director and there are like all these bright faculty. Have you ever had self-doubt?
Not that.
Fine, but either self-doubt or confidence, how do you tackle that? Is this kind of...
Yeah, correct. You're right. Sometimes that can happen. But as director, I never, I was there to do a job, to take IIT Bombay forward. There are definitely professors who are brighter than me and more power to them. If I can encourage them to contribute more, I've done my job. If I don't, if I start putting them down, I'm not doing my good job. So that's exactly, you're right. Now that can happen, but it should not happen to a good leader.
It should not.
To a good leader, that should not happen.
Actually, leadership is easier because people are better than you. It's good for you. It's, you know, encourage them.
I always say in IIT Bombay, I did whatever I had to do, but actually it's the heads and deans and faculty who did. But if they didn't deliver, what am I going to do here sitting in that director's office? It's they who delivered, you know. Correct or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Open to questions. Any questions? You won't get this opportunity later.
Say is open to the audience now. So, any questions?
Good questions you prepare. Na? Did somebody help you or just the two of you? Kisi aur ne help you?
Feedback.
They got a little help from us, but they've done all.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Myself Raj. So, like looking backward, were you engaged in some of the activities like which you think which has helped you in build your communication skills?
So communication skills is a very funny thing. It develops as you are, you know, it starts from when you're 5 years old. Slowly, either you're an introvert or an extrovert. And communication skills, it can be taught, but it's actually part of your growing up process. Okay. And I know people who are very good but cannot communicate well. So if you can have a communication course, more power to you, that's very good. There are some people who can come and give you lectures on how to improve your communication skills. Having said all that, communication is a very important thing. Whether you are short with words or you are verbose, if you cannot transmit your idea and your thought to somebody else, it could be your class fellow or your teacher or your brothers, sisters, upar niche, and your parents. You have to be able to do that. And it should be communicative. It's not like you should not hold on कि मैं ये नहीं बताऊंगा, then that leads to mental stress and all that. Oh, that's the other thing, mental stress. Ethics and all I said, but mental stress is something which you have to be very careful of. Don't get into mental stress. You do yoga, meditation, ye wo, play. I used to say when I play tennis, it was equal to doing yoga, which is fine. Whichever makes your mind away from, the everyday routine and gets the sweat out of you, you must do it. Yes. कुछ भी नहीं है तो जॉब करो जरा सीधा
You
आगे.
can also ask her that it's not just the audience, so it continuing.
Incidentally,
July had the question. I think.
communication skills for PhD and masters were then present better, published better, started when he was a director.
Yes.
So I had a related.
How many things can I mention?
No, so I had a related question. If I look at your background and achievements, you're a technologist. Primarily, you're a technologist who then got into leadership. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, okay. No, I didn't leave my technology, but I also got into leadership.
Yeah, you're a technologist. So I'm saying that typically, and this is a stereotype, the average techie does not value social skills. The average techie does not value social skills or the ability to manage people, the ability to build teams, etc. You're good at all of that. Where did that come from?
Now you're. तुम बताओ ना, why should I learn?
And now, they have like 4 years to get it from me.
I did what I had to do, So, what I did the right thing, that's all.
When did you build that ability? Because you're also first very good at networking. Very good across industry and academia.
Yeah.
But those capabilities come.
Yeah, so, basically that's a thing that you have to, I did with industry, IIT Bombay. I think, compared to the previous directors, I had the maximum interaction with the industry people, including Mahindra, Baba Kalyani, who I went to see in Norshad, Man Bajaj, Rupala. Of course, even my chairman, so I know I had to interact with it, but the others and so on. Because when you meet them, then you have to see. And I'll give you, now that you've asked me a question, I'll give you an anecdote. But interactions, then you have to present what is in it for IIT to the industry and vice versa. Or we can learn from each other. Baba Kalyani today itself, he came to, we met in some get together and he was saying, "Aap ye sab bolte ho PhD really." Jab hum lene jate hain, I don't get anybody. Because nobody, see, it has reached the point in my time, if you got a job with Tata Motors or something like that or L&T, you said, "Arey, wow." And by the time I was director, Tata Motors and L&T stopped coming because people are not joining them because people are all going to IT companies. So what does Baba Kalyani Bharat was even worse? Because people don't even know what it is. So I said, okay, let's start discussing. So we discussed. And what he gets is the number 2, second year engineering colleges graduates. He wanted to enhance their skill. Okay. So we started a very unique program. I'm just going in short. Between lots of negotiations between him and me. We used to visit him and he used to visit us. To start a program of, because he's also a technologist, start a program which will be beneficial to his people. We call it MMM. Materials, Mechanical and Modeling. Which means Material Science Department, Mechanical Department and Mathematics Department to come on board and make a program which will be beneficial to the Bharat Forge, the kind of things they were doing, forging and all that. And he was almost on the verge of going to Germany. कि वहाँ ऐसे से जाके करेंगे तो हम तुम्हारे बैकग्राउंड में बैठे आप हमें चांस तो दो. So we developed that program. And today he's got a discovery center in Kalyani Nagar. And he was showing us some of the innovations which is in the products he's making. Many of them are coming from that innovations discovery center, which was banned by people who did masters and PhD at IIT Bombay through the MMN program. Okay. So that MMM program, so you have to see, I didn't have to do it, people are teaching here one more headache and all that business of another MTech course. So that was my challenge. The 3 departments to come on the same page was not easy. कि वो तो मैकेनिकल है नहीं मैं तो मटेरियल्स का हूँ नहीं मैं तो मॉडलिंग का हूँ मैथमेटिक्स ऐसे देखो you will learn from each other. Then they finally came together and we gave them an incentive that look, you'll get extra money. And we told Baba Kaleni, okay, that for each student, I forget the exact number, so much per student. He said, don't talk about money. Whatever you want, we'll give you, but you do the program. And he's so thankful of that program. The problem was, soon after that, I left. So I could replicate with another company. And no IIT is replicated. That's the problem. But so this is how it is. He can never forget it.
Right.
You know?
It's collaboration and problem solving, and also the willingness to listen in general.
And his Discovery Center, I asked him a point blank question today. He look at the Discovery Center where all these people you train in IIT, they're there. इन्होंने क्या क्या बनाया? So he was telling me कि turret और ये वो फलाना. This used to so and so used to charge me $5 billion for it. I can now make it at 25% with this discovery on. All from the only because of that MMM program. So once you see benefit or joint benefit, everything else flows, no? So we have set up a center of IIT Alumni Center at Bangalore called IIT ACB. You can Google it. IIT or Google means go on the internet, iitacb.org. And there our main focus is how we can bring industry and IITs together for joint projects. We want the projects of the industry which are only 500 crores today, only means 500 is not bad. So we want to take it to 5,000 crores and then beyond. So audition goal. Unless you have to set a goal, roadmap and a goal. So at IIT Bombay we had a vision document which had very clearly marked the roadmap that we will do this. And every 6 months we will say, have we done this or not? Even if you have 70%, that is not bad. But you have to put that 100. If you just put a lousy goal, वो तो 1 साल में हो जाएगा, फिर क्या करोगे? So you have to put that on. Yep. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. You more than it.
Yeah, just conscious of time. So let's.
We did agree that as far as student questions are concerned, there's no time limit. Sure. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind outside in the campus. I'd rather do this. Campus is only rooms, right?
And the campus group se zyada hai, but फिर भी I think value
Like the saying there is on a lighter tone.
student stores.
Yuvraj.
Yeah. You guys.
So our professor and mentors, like what usually tell us that whatever things you are doing, group project, whether you're in classroom, like just have fun. So what kind of fun you have? What are you really was now?
Be serious and have fun.
Yeah.
Not just have fun.
So like when you were a student, so what kind of fun you had with your colleagues inside the classroom and outside the class?
So, several things. First of all, we would, if there was a project together, like 3 of us would be on, let us say, some project together. We would pull each other's leg also. Ki tumne ye nahi kiya, and all that business. But yet, to see that we get the end goal. Okay, and then in addition to that, the outside the classroom interactions, whether it was tennis or running or going for a movie even together and so on. So that togetherness has to be strong. Yeah.
We had no.
And photography I did a little bit.
One of the core values you had mentioned in your interview was excellence and hard work. And right now, in our age of today, it's very easy. We have softwares that do hard work for you. So what advice would you give? What advice would you give to us to why you think hard work is still an important value and why we should keep it?
Yeah. So, see, excellence, whatever you do, even if you are doing through the internet, what you're downloading and all that, you should download the best possible content. So that's what excellence. So if those tools are available to you, your level of excellence only goes up. It can't go down. Right? So now your benchmark is higher because I can do more through the internet. So therefore, I'm not satisfied with what this level. I should be on the higher level. Okay, so that is one. And hard work isn't going through internet and searching through search engines and all that hard work. If you don't find the best thing, it's you're not doing hard work. So you have both things you have to do. Everything cannot be through the internet. Okay. Let me give you an example. Can you teach yourself swimming if you don't know swimming through IT or through AI? Can you teach yourself bicycling through AI? Yes. Can you teach yourself flying a glider through AI? That can only help, but you have to do that hard work. So it's not just the internet से बस हो गया. ये नहीं है, ऐसे नहीं होता. Right?
So I do have a follow up to that. Of course, practical skills like swimming and skills that require physical activity can't be substituted with AI. But now in college, we're trying to adapt to AI, how we can use it in an ethical way and how we can adapt to it and to ensure we grow along with it. How would you advise the students here to use it to ensure that they're growing equal?
Great question. Very good question. So how should leverage AI while continuing to grow?
Yeah. So AI is also has to be ethical. AI can be used in a wrong manner. People are, as you must be reading, that they go into this gaming, shaming and all that, and they are committing suicide just through AI. So AI, whatever content is put, should be such. And now today's AI content, putting the content is not as ethical as it should be. Okay, that is very important. The second thing in AI is, and AI also hallucinates. There's hallucination in AI. That means I urge you to, in IIT Alumni Center I mentioned, there is our YouTube channel. There is one talk by Professor Jayed Rista, okay, on AI. So hallucination, what? So he gives all these examples, data analysis and all that. So now, for example, if you take AI and you say Ben's, that's some examples he gave. Ben's 100 meters is decreasing by so and so over the years. So you may predict that it may become 9.5 seconds for 100 meters. If you see the women's, it decreases a little bit faster. So suddenly, if you extrapolate it through AI, women will be running 100 meters in 5 seconds. Is it possible or not? No. That's hallucination as an example. And several examples are there. So that you have to be careful of. That AI cannot. We are working, we have set up a sector of excellence in AI. Now we are looking at health. So mental health, for example, is one possibility. You're working with the institute called DEMANS, which is National Institute for Mental Health and Science or whatever. And so when people go for mental health, so first thing, doctor says, MRI karalo. So they've got MRI scans of healthy people, not healthy people who got any Alzheimer's and so on. It's all sitting there. Now, if you use, as an example, if you use that to solve the next guy who comes, next person who comes with a mental health, then that's constructive AI. So you have to do constructive AI rather than non-constructive AI. So a lot of non-constructive. This responsible AI is a very, very important subject today. It has to be. Unfortunately, today, in today's world, you have to decide what is good and what is bad. The internet is not deciding, unfortunately.
So I supplement this particular answer. Actually, I think I might get this case. You are ability. Supplement this answer with 2 or 3 recent experience. And okay, let me start with the trivial one first. This is something I picked up on LinkedIn. That if you go to a ChatGPT and you say, I purchased a left shoe from Amazon and got a right shoe, and I purchased a right shoe from Amazon and got a left shoe, right? Now what should I do? ChatGPT will tell you the Amazon returns process for each shoe. Then you say, I wanted 2 shoes for both feet. I needed a left shoe and a right shoe. what should I do? It still gives you the return process. So you have to take it through 3 or 4 levels of queue. So Chat GPT can make, you can make, and you know, right? It's common sense. You say, I wanted 2 shoes for 2 feet. I've got both. I don't need any complaint. Chat GPT cannot. So it is treating each of these as simple questions. It is not able to make connections. Human being can make connections better than Chat GPT. So that's kind of one. The second was hard work. That was one. Yeah. So the second thing is, I think some of you know this, I recently started writing poetry. So I put 2 poems up. So after I put up my first poem, I put it on GPT and said, I want to become a really good poet. Tell me how to improve. It gave me suggestions. Then when I wrote my second poem, before I put it, I asked GPT for suggestions and I actually improved it because it said, this is not metaphorical, this is too. But then what it does, and this is where the ethical comes in, it says, can I suggest 2 lines to you? And I say, no, I want it to be my work. So I never took a single line from GPT. I never took a word from GPT, but I used its wisdom as a critique. Now that's the line you have to draw. And to my mind, that line is this. As you use it, are you growing? Or is it making you dumber? Because you are taking shortcuts. So why are you doing an assignment? Are you doing it to manage an assignment? So if you're managing an assignment and not getting smarter in the process, then it's a problem. And that is a judgment ultimately a student should be good enough to make. It is what I would argue. I understand there are pressures. I understand it's human to take shortcuts. But that's my larger principle. Are you growing? And it can make you better. It can make you more efficient. But don't replace your uniqueness with AI. That's
I'll add to that. My wife is too much into ChatGPT, so I write his speech sometimes, and then it's good proof credit, and then it comes out, and then I read that and I say, but this is not Ashok Misra,
exactly.
Then I have to rewrite the same thing. So this is what you have to correct exactly what it is. You know a tool, but not an end result. That's all.
I am Hasini, and I have one question. You mentioned that you played sports. You mentioned that you played sports, tennis and squash. And so, have you ever thought of playing that professionally? And
No, I'm not. I never played professionally. I haven't never that level, but college level I played, and more for enjoyment than anything else. And so I would say I would play at one time all racket sports, one time or the other, including badminton and table tennis.
and has
What
sports
is that?
has sports also helped you grow in that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Especially when you are feeling a little bit down, you will hit the ball. Squash is something you can hit the ball yourself. You don't need a partner also. And you sweat it out and all your, it's gone and you feel good. Or you just take a jog. My son is into jogging, so he does marathon runs and all that. So whatever turns you on, but you have to do something which is non-academic, more physical to keep your sanctity. You jump up and down, do yoga, you sing, this Saurabh guy, Habil, he does he's very good, 45 minutes or something. So you have to do something. I hope they're allowing you time to do all this. If they're not, they should be.
They're epic. Maybe facilities we could do some work with this.
I mean, you can have a jeep or whatever you like.
Yeah, but gym in us there.
Yeah.
It's a basic thing. It's not.
That's a basic is enough, yeah. I mean, ultimately, yoga required no jeep, do.
And then somewhere in the next 15 days you will have nets and a field and all of that.
There are table tennis here.
Yeah. How many of you are playing table tennis? I would like to see. Next time I come, I'd like to see all handball. We teach each other, no? Yeah.
They want to be champions. That's why they are.
Any more questions?
So one of the friends I used to play tennis, table tennis in IIT, he was a 10-pointer, but he was so shy that we used to go play at 11 o'clock at night when nobody is watching him. I didn't care. He said, abhi chalega, abhi koi nahi dekha. So, but at least he went, no, 10-pointer is one player, but he like that. Don't be shy. कि मुझे नहीं आता, अरे नहीं आता तो खेलोगे. Krishnan, Ramanathan Krishnan was one of the best tennis players. He was teaching my kids in one camp. It was very simple thing I learned from it. So how will my kids become good tennis players? So it depends on the number of balls they hit. Very simple. If you hit more balls in your life, the next shot you'll be way better, no? Same thing applies to cricketers and that's why they practice so well. So that's what it is. One time will not make you grow. You have to be at it. Not just tennis, but even writing poems and whatever you want to do.
So they talk about deep practice, right? So it's important to hit 1,000 balls, provided you're hitting the 1,000 ball better than you hit the first ball. I mean, that there is learning happening in the art.
Somebody is guiding you, but at the end of the day, I used to do a lot of ball practice myself because then you know the line is there and you have to hit above the line. And below that, I want to see top touch, so you knew it was below the line.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, let's give Professor Misra a very big round of applause. I can, the audience is just getting warmed up. A special round of applause to Nitya and Miraya. I think they did a really, really good job. And I do think they enjoy themselves also.